Hello, and welcome to the 29th episode of PauseCast. It is Thursday, the 16th of February, 2017. I am Jessica Alouette, and I use she, her pronouns.
And I'm Mark Hanna. I use he, him. Welcome.
Welcome to this episode, the first one where I finally got the name of the day right. I did it, at long last.
You did it so well, I didn't even notice.
Jesus, yeah, I'm crushing it. I don't know what's up. Anyway, this is a show about video games. We talk about video games mostly, but we occasionally talk about other stuff, and we mostly just kind of hang out. We go from topic to topic. It's pretty chill. I'm assuming this is your first episode. If you're a regular listener, hi, you know the deal. You know what's up. Mark.
Yeah.
As always, I do have a question for you.
Can you guess the answer?
No.
No, it's okay, because it's good this time. I have not gone 3 weeks without playing video games.
Holy shit. I was extremely worried for a split second.
I wouldn't do that to you.
Okay.
No, I have. I haven't been playing a huge amount, but I have done a little more Dying Light with my flatmate, and I went back to that game Kingdom and played the semi-expansion New Lands, although I haven't gotten deep into the new content of it.
Hashtag content. What is Kingdom? I've never heard of this game before.
Haven't you? Because we've talked about it, I'm sure.
I mean, it's entirely possible.
It's a really pretty pixel art, side-scrolling, pretty minimalist game where the idea is you are a monarch, and you're on a horse, and you can drop coins. And you drop coins on people, and they will start following you, and you can drop coins at, like, a bow shop, essentially, and then a bow pops up, and if there's someone who doesn't have a tool, they'll go and pick up the bow, and then they can shoot rabbits, which drop coins, and so on and so on. And basically, every night you get attacked by monsters, you have to build up walls and have builders to build the walls and archers to shoot the monsters and stuff like that. And it's quite cool. I really like the art style. It's really minimalist. There's literally only the left, right, and down arrow keys as the controls. And it's quite a lot of fun to play. I think I've finally got the hang of it, although that might be because the New Lands means it starts off easier than before and ends up way harder, and I've done the first land, which is, I guess, the old one, which took probably a couple of hours, although that involved a couple of restarts as I had epiphanies. I was like, I should have done this at the beginning, or I really shouldn't have cut down that tree because now I can't get any more recruits from this area.
Yeah, I'm looking at this now. We definitely haven't talked about this before.
Oh, we have. Not at length, but I've definitely mentioned it before.
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking at this right now, and it's got a really gorgeous art style.
It's
my goodness.
Beautiful. It really is. It's really good, and it's got good lighting for a pixel art game as well, which is something that I imagine is quite hard to do when you don't have some fancy rendering engine to bounce light off stuff. It can be hard to have good. I completely lost the next word I was going to say. There are a bunch of pixel art games that have had really good lighting. Like, I remember playing Second Densetsu 3, which I think was Secret of Mana 2 or something in English. And it has a day-night cycle and really, really gorgeous pixel art. Like, I'll be surprised if you ever see better. It had day-night, but a lot of the time, pixel art is a more static thing, or it's got specific, this is the lighting for it, and that's it. Just because the palette has to be quite specific and stuff. So it was really cool in this. It's just the whole thing is really, really good looking, basically.
Yeah, geez, it sounds incredible. And I'm looking at this game, and I'm seeing pixel art reflections.
Yes, and they're really good reflections. So I think everyone who listens to us already knows I'm a massive nerd and will geek out on maths and physics stuff as well as video games. And a while ago, on my blog where I do sort of science communication-y stuff instead of video games, I got really interested in this question, right? When you look over the sea at night and there's a city on the other side, or the moon or whatever, and you see its reflection, and its reflection is all stretched out vertically, you know that? Or on a wet road and you see the brake lights of cars and they're all big vertical lines, even though that doesn't make sense at first. this game actually has done that in its reflections, and it's done it really well. So they're
What?
good reflections. It's all because the way this works, if you're looking at screenshots, you'll be able to see, is in the foreground there's water, and then you're on what looks like a thin strip of land. It just represents the land, and you're alongside a river, really. Um, but that means that the whole time it's reflected, and that reflection goes through the day-night cycle. Your character gets a torch out at night, and like the torches in certain places, like on walls and next to your frontier and stuff, will light up as well. And the brighter stuff stretches more because the contrast sort of does that more in real life, and they've written that into how their game handles reflections. It's really impressive. I really like this game. I mean, I'm really into pixel art in general. This game has some phenomenal pixel art. Which reminds me, I should pick up Owlboy at some point.
Yeah, I have it, and I still
Oh, you have it?
have not. Yeah, I have it. I haven't played it though, because I'm a trash woman made exclusively of garbage. um, and that tends to like reflect itself in what I play as well. So
What have you been playing then?
yeah, I've been playing some garbage, just some really enjoyable garbage. Um, and that's fine, I think. I started playing Call of Duty Infinite Warfare's campaign, which I'm thoroughly impressed with, actually, and the space battles were fun.
That's right, that's the space one.
Yeah, and it does have some space going on in it.
I mean, that's good for a space game, I guess.
Yeah, like in the first level though, you are like the first level of the campaign takes you through so much whack shit. Like they completely jumped the shark with this game.
Now I'm imagining sharks jumping in space.
Now, yeah, there's a song about that actually.
Really?
It's called Laser Sharks and it's by Savant. It's a really good song. But
It's not in the game, though.
no, God,
Okay.
no, it's not in the game. I wish. But yeah, it's got some pretty simple like space dogfighting in it in
Okay.
the first campaign mission. It's
That's planes in space rather than space flight,
yeah,
right?
planes in space rather than space flight. I know you have like a thing about
I
that.
do. I have a thing. It's okay. Like, it can be fun gameplay. That's fine. But it'd be really cool if they could... yeah, whatever. It's like, no, the thing that always bugs me about space movies and stuff is when they blow up a spaceship and then it starts to fall, but it's like, no, it was in orbit. It's going to stay in orbit. It's like, if satellites collide, they don't fall to Earth. You just get a whole fuck ton of debris in space.
Okay,
staying in
so
orbit.
did you see Gravity?
Yes. Oh god, that I really liked watching it, except the fact that the two major plot points hinged on things that wouldn't happen.
You are such a high level advanced nerd. Jesus.
Do you want me
Wow,
to go into
there's-
it? Or
Sorry, I just looked at my Steam library for a second, and there
Yeah?
are like 5 games that had exactly 16.1 megabyte updates today.
It's a conspiracy.
It is.
Oh,
Probably.
actually-
They might have all changed like their DRM or something. I don't know.
Speaking of space, I found out something really, really neat.
Okay.
And it's about video games. So,
Okay.
remember how I've been saying the last couple of weeks, oh, there's nothing coming up. There's nothing good coming out soon. Ken,
You found something
my flatmate,
today that was-
mentioned not today, the other day. He mentioned something to me that looks like it's right up my alley. Like I'm really excited about this. Its release date is when it's done, so that's great. But it's related to space because it's by the same people who made FTL, that sort of space combat management game where you tell the crew to go to different places and control the power to different systems in a spaceship. It's really cool. But they're making a game called Into the Breach, which is a pixel art tactics game. I love pixel art. I love tactics games, and I really liked FTL, so I'm really excited about this. I really like what I saw, the art style and the promotional materials they've got, and the description they have sounds like it's something I'm really going to enjoy. Because I've complained before about games like XCOM, how they will constantly escalate up, and I quite like when I can just sort of stay at the same level for a while and relax a bit while I'm playing it, instead of being constantly challenged, can I survive or not? Whereas this game, the way they described it, it's all about finding the perfect counter to what your enemy's going to do. So it sounds like it's not going to have that constant ramping up. I mean, sure, there's probably going to be a bit of progression as you learn, I'd guess. But I really like the way this game's being described. I really like the way it looks. I really like the genre in general. So I'm really looking forward to Into the Breach, like a lot.
All right. Yeah, it's good it's good to have something to look forward to in what is arguably a pretty slow season.
I mean, I guess everything wants to come out right before Christmas. So right after Christmas, it's a bit quiet.
Yeah, it really tends to be. But this year, we're getting like a surprising amount of good stuff.
Well, Horizon Zero Dawn comes out soon, and I think, robot dinosaurs are pretty cool.
That's the end of the month, yeah.
Yeah, that's like, 2 weeks away?
Night in the Woods is next week.
I'll bet you're excited about that. Is
that
next week?
Off the wall.
Next week before the recording or next week after the recording?
The 21st of February. So
that's 5 days. So it's next Tuesday.
We get it on the 22nd though.
Okay, Wednesday.
So
good thing it's not coming out Thursday night, right?
Oh God, if it was getting out Thursday night, I mean, we would have to do it, and then I'd have to play Night in the Woods immediately afterwards. That would just be it. Like, I have to do the show. It's a thing. We do this together.
You don't play it while we're doing it?
No, see, I like Night in the Woods is going to be one of those games.
You want to pay attention to it when you're playing it.
Yeah, so
absolutely.
No calls, no interruptions. I want to have like just a moment with the video game.
Yeah, I do that a lot when I'm especially narrative-driven games. I'll be like, no, I'm going to shut myself in a room on my own.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I should probably, like, honestly take the extra step of, like, switching Discord into Do Not Disturb and stuff like that. So
That's a chat client, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't use it. You've mentioned it a few times. I'm just trying to remember. Right.
Yeah, it's a chat client. And, like, I leave it open when I play games most of the time. But, like, sometimes I just need to not.
Yeah, I've switched off Steam's auto sign into the friends thing, which is where chat happens, because occasionally I'd forget I was on it and someone would try to talk to me while I'm playing a game, and I was kind of like, oh, it's really rude not to reply, but I'm kind of in the middle of this. So I just don't go on Steam chat now typically, unless I'm like, if I'm playing with someone, like if I'm playing Dying Light with Ken, then I need to be online on that to play it together anyway, I think. So.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah. Yeah, no disturbances is nice for narrative-driven games, lets you focus on them.
I had about 45 minutes before the show. And I booted up Kingdom Hearts for the first time.
So, is this emulated?
Oh, no. I've got it on... I got it hooked up to the PS3, which I've now got, like, literally next to me.
Was Kingdom Hearts a PS2 game? Or was it a handheld?
It was.
Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't played it, that's the thing, so...
Yeah, I have 2 of the HD collections.
Right. Because it sort of jumped from to handheld and back again or something, didn't it, along the series?
Yeah, there's like a bunch of things that it did. Like, there was some side stuff that was on Game Boy Advance and a bunch of handheld systems.
Mm-hmm.
There was the mainline games, which were on the PS2, and then there's more stuff that's come out kind of in between, which... stuff on like 3DS. There's a new entry that was just put out on PS4 as a side story, kind of leading into Kingdom Hearts 3. So the whole, like, traversing Kingdom Hearts as a whole is kind of a big deal.
So what I understand of Kingdom Hearts is, I think the main character's name is Sora, is that right?
That is right.
They have a sword that's actually a key,
mm-hmm.
and they're friends with everyone from Final Fantasy and also Disney.
Yep. Like, in the first 45 minutes, like, you see Donald Duck, you see Goofy, you're expected to take them seriously, and you also see Waka and Titus, or Tidus, as Waka pronounces it.
Oh, I hate how they decided that's his name. They do it in Dissidia as well.
Yeah, Tidus is there.
I can't call him that. Anyway, yep, sorry.
And, like, he's just there in the first 45 minutes, and then there's also just a woman who looks like she's from Super Monkey Ball.
I don't know what that is.
You don't know what Super Monkey Ball is?
Nope, it sounds made up.
My dude, we have got to talk after the show.
Super Monkey Ball, okay.
Super Monkey Ball. I cannot... Okay, stop the podcast. I need to explain Super Monkey Ball to you. So the concept of the game is you're a super monkey in a ball. And you navigate through really tough, like, platforming challenges by tilting the level.
Okay, why are you a monkey?
That's a great question.
Okay, does it have an answer?
It's a great question.
Okay. Super Monkey Ball Deluxe. It's an actual thing. What the hell?
It's an actual thing with, I think, at least a dozen entries?
It's got its own wiki, yeah, of course.
Well, yeah, fucking... Of course it does.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's got phone ones?
Yep,
13,
that
14,
checks
15,
out.
16, 17 if you count the phone ones.
Okay.
If you don't, it is 12.
Okay, so I was actually right.
Including 2 arcade games, which includes Monkey Ball, so it's before he got his superpowers. I'm guessing he got tired every few minutes.
Yeah, you have to put in a quarter and he's not tired anymore.
Actually, for an arcade game, that could be it.
It could be. But yeah, like, that. The whole premise is, like, tilting the level to navigate through these, like, weird challenges.
And it has a background character who shows up in Kingdom Hearts.
No, it doesn't. I'm saying there's just a character who exists, who's from a Final Fantasy game.
Oh.
But she looks like she just came straight out of Super Monkey Ball.
Okay, so what does that mean?
Like,
is she like a monkey, or?
No, it's just the art style of Kingdom Hearts makes her look weird.
Oh, okay.
That's all that means.
Do you know what? Do you know who she is? Might recognize the name.
Hang on. Selfie. Selfie, spelt with a P. It's from Final Fantasy VIII.
I feel like I recognize that name, but I haven't played much 8.
Wait, is that 8? VIII. Yeah, that's 8.
Okay.
Final Fantasy VIII.
Oh, yes, I remember her. Yep.
The art style makes her look like she just came out of like a Super Monkey Ball game.
Okay.
Like, I'm gonna send you this JPEG, and we'll leave that where it is.
Sure. So anyway, Kingdom Hearts.
Kingdom Hearts is imparsable in the first 45 minutes. I cannot wait to play more of it.
I think the stuff you've described is kind of the reason I think why I haven't played it. I know it's really well liked by people who have played it, but you know how I've talked about like how I'm not a big fan of Mario games because I can't take them seriously and stuff? Yeah. My narrative-driven games, I don't like it when they're silly. I can't take them seriously. I can't sort of get into the groove with them. And I feel like this would be like that for me if I tried to play it, especially since it's mixing characters that I know and care about with Goofy the dog and stuff, you know?
It's weird how seriously Kingdom Hearts takes itself is the other thing. It takes itself incredibly seriously.
Yeah, but like, you can take yourself as seriously as you like. If you're still Goofy the dog, it's still silly.
And that's what I was going to get to. On a serious note, I do have something I want to talk about this week as well.
Yeah?
Yeah, something I noticed while I was playing through Deus Ex Human Revolution a little bit more and kind of like wanted to expand on.
That's the latest one?
No, it is the slightly older one.
I'm so bad at this.
You are. We've gone over this.
I know, but they just have the same name.
It's the same. It's a series.
Yeah, but like they have the same. Okay, it's like if every Zelda game was called Zelda.
I mean, they all are.
Yeah, but like that's
they just have different subtitles.
Except the subtitle is the same.
What are you talking about?
What's the subtitles for them again?
Let's see, Twilight Princess.
No,
the
sorry,
Wind Waker.
I know they're not the same. But it's like, if they were the same, that would be what it's like with Deus Ex. Because the two Deus Ex games that are the remake, they have the same subtitle.
No.
Say the subtitles?
Human Revolution.
Mm-hmm.
Mankind Divided.
Yeah, they're the same. I can't tell you which one's which, and you just told me like a minute ago.
God damn it. Anyway, so Deus Ex.
So wait, this is the first one you've been playing?
Yes, this is the first new one that I've been playing.
Yeah.
As I've been going through, you have not played this.
I've played up to the first boss.
Okay, well, that's right, and then you stopped.
Yeah, because I
remember
couldn't beat
this.
it because I think it was throwing 6 grenades at me or something.
Yeah, that checks out. So as you go through the game,
Mm-hmm.
there's like all sorts of stuff that plays on the radio as you go through, right, and on the news. And as you like learn more and more about the story, there's a like radio DJ who I would liken to like an Alex Jones from InfoWars kind of person, right?
Yeah, not good. Okay.
Not good. Like full blown conspiracy theorists talking about the Illuminati like really, really early in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like knows kind of like ends up knowing what's up though, because that's what actually happens in the video game.
Okay.
So I wanted to talk about this idea of like a game lending credence to conspiracy theory.
Well, I wondered if that sounds like something they could have done to prime you to not believe them in the first place, and then make it into more of a twist. I wonder.
And I mean, that seems like the most likely explanation for it, but it also, to me, like, especially in like this current political climate that we're in, right? There's a very distinct spin which Deus Ex Human Revolution takes, and it's that the conspiracy theorist is right, and the mass media is lying to you.
Right.
And that is, it is an interesting observation to see in this game from 2012. I think is the original release, possibly 2011.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting to like see that in this current political climate, where a kind of a talking point of the far right white nationalist movement is the media is lying to you, and we've been right about everything the whole time. Here's these whack conspiracies. Here's Alex Jones, who we put on a pedestal. Here's Milo Yiannopoulos, whose name I cannot fucking pronounce for the life of me.
I've only seen it spelled, but I think you get it right. I think you got it right.
Oh, okay.
It's either pronounced that way or just fucking asshole. I'm not sure.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Maybe it's giant dickweed, too? I can't...
I've got weeds growing in my garden path. I just imagine them all dick-shaped. Thanks. Great, okay.
Now that's got me thinking about, like, the fact that in Persona, inexplicably, there is a persona that you can have, which is a dick chariot.
It sounds like something that Saints Row would have.
Yeah, it does. But, like, it's there, and it's like a demon. I don't quite understand what Persona is.
Right, okay.
I don't understand that series, but it's good. But yeah, dipping back to not dick-shaped chariots. And, like, I don't know, do you have anything to say about this?
What I'm trying to think of is if there are any other games I can think that have done a similar conspiracy type thing. Because often in games, when there's a conspiracy, you're part of it. There are a lot of games that are like sort of undermining stuff that's in power. Like I'm thinking of the Half-Life 2 and episodes stuff. You're coming in to undermine everything, and you're part of a little conspiracy group.
Right.
But I don't know if I can think of any other games where that sort of thing has happened. Where, I mean, some games do have that kind of in the background. There's media reports on what's happening. Like for the Fallout games, with a lot of the radio stuff they do, they have a lot of that. Oh, you've done this quest. Oh, look, the DJ is talking about the quest you just did. But that's not the same thing as what you're talking about.
No, not at all. This is like stuff that you have no influence over that takes place in the narrative that is being talked about.
I wonder if any of the Splinter Cell games have got stuff like that, because they involve conspiracies, but I don't think they really ever have had any involvement with media reporting on it in the same sort of way.
No, because they're Black Ops.
Yeah.
And also, like, that, it doesn't align with the setting, which tends to be, like, very heavily military.
Yeah.
Accepting Conviction, which takes place in a lot of public spaces. But even then, it tends to be like, you're sneaking into this military base. You're doing all this stuff. It doesn't tend to be anything kind of along the lines of you being in sort of like a mainline conspiracy.
Yeah, I think they've had like radios enemies are listening to sometimes, but there's never been anything of the sort of thing that you're talking about. I can't think of, conspiracy theory radio hosts from this or that video game. It's interesting though. One thing that I do think this isn't exactly a parallel, but it reminds me of it, since with everyone talking about fake news now, I'm thinking, well, people have been saying things that are full of shit for a long time. Something I spend a lot of my time in is trying to counter a lot of medical misinformation. So I always find it funny when you get games that'll sort of half-ass way for you to heal yourself, and I'm thinking, that's a real life thing that doesn't do anything.
What specifically are you thinking of here, though?
Oh, I think it's harmless when it happens. I just find it funny when I see it. Like Monster Hunter.
I agree. I think it's harmless when it happens.
and you get better.
Oh, okay, yeah, that sort of thing.
Yeah. But like in that case, it's just called herb. It's like, I found a green plant. Yum. Okay, cool.
Tasty. Yum yum. I feel much better now that I have food in my stomach.
From gameplay perspective, it totally makes sense to do stuff like that. Yeah. But it just reminded me of it a bit. It's not the same as conspiracy priming like in Deus Ex, though.
I don't know if there are a lot of games which explore this space is the thing.
No.
And I've always been fascinated by the idea of, like, events happening in games which are not, like, central to the player. Because pretty much every game only kind of moves when you move.
Yeah.
And I mean, Deus Ex does this too, but it also has this broader story going on in the background, which you are involved in. I mean,
it progresses as your story progresses, essentially, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard for games sometimes to make sure that it's the story driving you rather than you driving the story when it's a linear thing.
Yeah. I think, like, a concept I've always thought would be interesting in, like, an open world game would be to have, like, a game which has, like, a day-night cycle and factions and stuff like that.
There are games that do that.
Yes, there are.
Right.
But then there's an additional layer in this system where you have your days tracked and you have your times tracked. And you can only do certain things, like you can only do a certain mission for this faction at a certain time because they need you to do this thing right then and there. It doesn't wait for you. If you aren't there, someone else in that faction attempts to do it, and then they have a chance to succeed or fail, and that can strengthen or weaken the faction. Stuff happening at predetermined points, just like in the story.
Yeah, typically what I find is when open world games have got stuff that isn't meant to be player driven, it's actually just random events that only show up near the player, rather than actually irrelevant to the player. And I mean, like, I can understand why, because part of it is you don't want to waste a whole bunch of resources off doing things the player doesn't see and might not even notice. But yeah, it's interesting when they're selling you, it's this big open world you can explore, but it's like it's still completely centered on you.
Yeah, nothing happens in this world unless you tell it to by doing a thing somewhere. And like it'll change the world a bit, but it only happens if you do it. I'm more like this idea where, like, if you, for example, you don't show up for a few missions for this faction, they don't like you, and maybe their base is looking a little bit more fucked up once you get back because they fell victim to an attack and you weren't around.
I can think of one game. I don't know if I describe it as an open world game, but if you don't do anything, the world goes on without you, and that is Mount and Blade.
Okay.
Where like different what's the word? Not rulers, but like people with armies, essentially, who are part of different nations, and they might be the head of the nation or like some general or other thing. It depends on the nation what the title will be. They'll still go around and they'll declare war on each other and make peace treaties and fight bandits and stuff, whether you're helping them or not, which is kind of interesting. There's a mod I've often played it with where you can, instead of controlling your own band, you can actually enlist in one of their armies, and then you don't need to decide, I'm going here, I'm going there. You're just like, I'll just leave the game running until you get me in a fight. But it's neat because you can just, doing that, you can be, okay, here's this huge world, I'm just some random soldier. And yes, maybe the difficulty settings make me a little more invincible, but still the world goes on without caring about me, which is really interesting.
Yeah. I might have to like look into Mountain Blade at some point or another.
You'd want to grab Mountain Blade Warband, which is, it's Mountain Blade, but with an expansion.
Yep.
No point playing Mountain Blade on its own. There's also Fire and Sword, which is like a sort of a total conversion. I think it was official, but Warband is kind of the main one that I'd recommend playing.
With Fire and Sword is official.
Yeah, no, it is, but it's kind of like, rather than being an expansion, it's like a total conversion kind of thing, where it's a slightly different time period. They've got guns and stuff instead. Mm-hmm. Well, as well.
Yeah. Warband has 2 expansions as well, it looks like. Napoleonic Wars and Viking Conquest.
I didn't know about that. I know they've been developing Mountain Blade 2 for a while, but there's not a huge amount of news on it as far as I'm aware.
No, it's still listed as to be announced, actually.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a fun game.
It does look very pretty.
Mountain Blade 1 is not very pretty, honestly.
Oh, I'm saying 2. 2 looks pretty.
Okay, that's good. The thing I like about it is 2 things. One is that everyone can ignore you, and that's fine. And the other is it's quite nice to have a game where you can spend time building yourself up a bit, but the game isn't constantly ramping up difficulty. I mean, you've already complained about this episode, right? There are always powerful enemies, and you can run. If you've got a small mobile group, you can run away from a big army. Like you can see it, and you can run away, and you can spend time and like. If you do the right things, you might get granted a title of land or whatever, and now you've got your own castle. Or you can like go around and buy stuff here and go sell it over there. And you've got a lot of money now, whatever. Hire a bunch of people and give them horses. But like you can do this, and then if, say, you get beaten up and captured and lose all your money, okay, you just start again. Like you can start again from scratch. The game isn't a whole lot harder. It's just the world just persists, and it's fun for that. I like games where you can just build up something like that and it doesn't constantly ramp everything else up to get harder for you, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it's something I don't think I've really found many places elsewhere. So I often come back to Mountain Blade occasionally. I've spent like a couple 100 hours in that game, I think, over the years.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's one that I come back to quite a lot. I haven't for a while. I've probably spent, maybe 150 hours or something.
That's pretty impressive. That's like as much time as I've spent in Left 4 Dead 2, I think.
It's the multiplayer one, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, all the Left 4 Deads have been multiplayer.
Right.
They've been 4-player co-op games.
Oh, because they've got 4 in the thing.
You have spent 111 hours in Mountain Blade Warband.
Okay. Not as much as I thought, but still like a chunk.
You've spent 123 hours in Papers, Please, and I'd like to know how that happened.
I don't know. I think I must have left it open for a long time because I've not spent that much time in it. Honestly, I probably have spent like 18 hours in that game, but I have no way spent 123 hours. I don't know how that happened. I can't remember if it's a game that's got like the launcher thing, because Steam thinks it's running when the launcher's open, and then maybe I had the launcher open for ages, but I don't know how that happened because I haven't.
You've also got 112 hours in Fallout 4.
Oh, that's more than I thought.
Yeah, it's like a lot. 108 in XCOM Enemy Unknown, which doesn't surprise me because you play it at least once a year.
Have I got that much? Really?
Yeah,
I thought
108.
I thought it was
I'm
around
looking at
80.
looking at your profile right
Yeah,
now.
I'm just opening Steam up. I thought it was around 80 hours in that.
Nope. Closest thing you have to 80 hours is XCOM 2, actually.
Hmm. Yeah, I thought I'd spent similar times in both of them.
Nope.
Okay.
That's that.
Well, I tend to have a few games I spend a lot of time in rather than a lot of games I spend a little time in, I guess.
And I mean, for what it's worth, probably the best approach.
Well, depends what sort of games you want to play, I guess, right?
That's fair.
How do I tell? Okay, here we go.
I can send you a link if you want.
74. 108 hours next come too. Huh. Okay, there we go.
My list is like significantly like less impressive. Because I go like Left 4 Dead 2, 146 hours, Borderlands 2, 131, Skyrim, the original release, 123, Dark Souls, 112, Civ 5, 105.
I find it kind of fun that I've spent 56 hours in Mass Effect 1 and 55 in Mass Effect 2, and I've played them each through twice, so I must spend about the same time in each game.
Yeah, each is about 24 hours or so, give or take.
Yeah, that's what I tend to spend in them, and I tend to go through them pretty slow.
Mm-hmm.
One thing you reminded me of a bit, something I wanted to bring up when you mentioned Left 4 Dead. So I've played a bit more Dying Light, and I've noticed something kind of interesting in playing it multiplayer, which is it's a cooperative game, but it's really quick to turn into competition.
Now, I was about to say, wait a second. Did you not realize that it was intended to be a cooperative experience? But then I remembered you play like tag
Yeah.
in
So what?
Dying Light.
I mean, part of it is the game driving it to you because occasionally when you're playing multiplayer, it will say hold H, I think, to create this challenge, and it's like kill the most zombies or find the most loot or something. We tend to ignore those unless someone's trying to heal and accidentally starts a challenge. Because it's the same key for some stupid reason. But it's interesting. While we're doing the same thing, it starts to feel like a challenge. Like while we're going somewhere, it's who can get there first. While we're killing zombies together, it's who can kill the most zombies, right? But when we're doing different things, it immediately becomes cooperative. I'm picking a lock and he's keeping the zombies away from me, that sort of thing. And it was really interesting to notice that. I mean, sometimes when we're fighting one enemy, even then it's like who can kill it, who can be the one to beat this enemy, not taking it down together. We're going to kill it. We're going to kill it. Who gets to do the most? But when we're doing different things, suddenly you can't compete. You have no choice but to cooperate. I thought that was really interesting.
That is kind of interesting, actually. I've seen the effects of this a little bit in my time playing Left 4 Dead.
Mm-hmm.
It tends to be like during some of the finales, you'll have to go collect a bunch of gas cans from around the level, right?
Right. Okay.
So I will be the one going and running around and collecting all the gas cans while I'm defended by my partner or partners.
Yeah, and then it feels cooperative, right? Because you're doing different things.
Yeah, exactly. Rather than just kind of like going through the level and like we've got each other's backs, but we're just trying to like crush it, get through these zombies.
Yeah, like when I play Diablo games with multiplayer, it quickly becomes a race, and it's really hard not to. It's really hard not to do that. I remember when I first played Diablo 2 multiplayer, and I must have been like 14 or something, and I was like, holy shit, everyone's running way ahead. I'd played through the whole game on my own first, and I was like slow and methodical, explore everything. But these people were like blitzing through, and I was having trouble actually keeping up, just in terms of location, let alone fighting anything. It was funny because they'd also left behind a bunch of loot, and one of them was a legendary item that they hadn't noticed. It was the only one I ever saw playing Diablo 2. But yeah, so doing the same thing, it seems, at least when I've been playing it, makes it very quickly cooperative game turn competitive, whereas doing different things, taking on different roles, makes it way easier to cooperate. And I hadn't noticed that until this week. I'm probably going to be keeping an eye out for it a lot more when I play multiplayer games in the future. But I can understand, I guess, now why so many MMOs and stuff split things. You know, you've got a tank who stands there and gets things to attack them, and you've got someone who deals damage and someone who heals people. Because if everyone's doing the same thing, it feels competitive, and as well, that split just makes sense because it's effective.
I think that also lends itself even into like some of the stuff that I play or have been playing, like Call of Duty definitely like distinctly feels competitive.
Even when you're on the same team as someone, right? Because who can kill the most without dying as much?
Exactly. That's like the bread and butter of Call of Duty.
Whereas if it was something like capture the flag, it's no, I've got the flag, you defend me. Suddenly it's cooperative.
Or like Overwatch was actually the example I was going to use.
Because everyone's got different roles because they've got all the different abilities.
Correct. And you tend to have those like the same kind of roles that MMO are like language that MMOs use, and then I've carried down to stuff like Fire Emblem. So you have like your offense who are really good at pushing forward, doing lots of damage. Defense can still do a lot of damage, but are a little bit more focused on like holding down an area. And then you have tanks, of course. Take lots of damage, don't tend to do a lot. Some of them have abilities which will let them do it. And then supports, which can be, there's a few kind of different supports that are in Overwatch. There's your typical like healers. There's one healer who can like cast an orb out, which heals that ally as long as they are on like in your line of sight, and they can cast another one out, which will cause the person who's affected by it on the enemy team to take an increased amount of damage. Harmony and Discord. There's one that builds turrets. There's who's the last support? Shoot, I forget who the last support is. I don't play them a lot.
I can't fill you in because I don't.
No,
know.
I know you play nothing in terms of Overwatch, but yeah, it's that same language, and everybody's got different things to do on the team, but it unites everybody in the single purpose, which is to complete the single objective that you have.
And maybe it's why people hate it so much when someone else picks the same character.
Well, that's no longer a problem.
Suddenly you're in competition. Oh, right, they changed it.
Yeah, they changed it so you can't do that anymore.
Because everyone hated it because it made it a competition.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a little bit of that when it's like, oh, I want first pick.
Yeah.
So that I can choose to not play a support for once in my life. Because nobody will play support unless they have to. But I'll play support voluntarily, so I've gotten really good at support.
What you reminded me of is that there is a way for multiple parts to play the same role without it becoming competition, and that's when one person's controlling them all. It reminded me of this neat thing years ago. When I was 16 or something, 17, I did this thing called Outward Bound, which Kiwi listeners might have heard of. And one thing that we did in that was really interesting. So there were 14 of us in the group. Right? It could have been any number around there. And the idea was, okay, there's a broom handle, just a long cylinder of wood. And we each stick a finger out, and the broom handle gets laid across all our fingers, and we're like half on each side. And the idea is, without taking your finger off the broom handle, lower it to the floor. Can you guess what happens?
I cannot. Give me it.
The broom handle goes up. Every time. Because everyone tries to go down, but some people are going to go down slightly too fast, so their finger comes off, so they put it back on the broom handle. Oh, they pushed it up a little bit. So everyone's trying to get it down, but eventually, no, the broom handle just goes up and up and up. But if you get one person, you can have 10 fingers on the broom handle and lower it all at once, right? It's kind of the same thing. If you're playing like an RTS or something, you can have a bunch of damage-dealing units, and you're controlling all of them, and it's not a competition anymore. But if you were trying to cooperate on that, it would turn into my units are going to deal more damage, sort of thing.
And that's Do you attribute that more to like the design of those games, or more just like the nature of people and how we play games?
The nature of people, and more than how we play games, I think. I think it's very common for people to doing the same thing to turn it into a bit of a competition, even if they don't voice that, right? Like people compare themselves to other people, whether they want to or not. I think this is kind of an extension of that. When you're doing the same thing, you want to be the best at it. Even if you like, I don't consider myself a competitive person. I try to avoid competition where I can. I like cooperating with people; it's the best. But I still found myself thinking in a competitive mindset when I was playing Dying Light.
Hmm.
I mean, sometimes it can be fun. Like if you are just like chasing each other through a zombie-infested city, like jumping from rooftops, it's pretty fun. Especially when you know you're evenly matched, because hey, it's actually the same person you're playing and you've got the same abilities. Um, but still, it was interesting just how easy it was to fall into that mindset just because we're doing the same thing.
That's really like that's really interesting to think about.
I haven't played that many multiplayer games. I'm trying to think of others that might have a similar thing. I mean, a lot of the time, multiplayer is you're pitting yourself against someone else, and of course that's competitive. It's meant to be competitive.
Yeah.
Thinking of Monster Hunter, it's the game I've played most that's cooperative, and everyone's fighting the same monster. So you might think, oh, it's going to start to feel competitive, but you have no indication of how much damage you're dealing, which makes it hard to worry about competing. So often people are playing with different weapons, so you will take different roles. Like the person with the insect glaive is trying to mount it because they can do the best jumping attacks, and the person with the hammer can stun them, so they're trying to attack the head. The person with the bowgun is standing back and maybe trying to apply a status effect, that sort of thing. So even though you're all attacking the same monster, the game manages to not let you compete by not showing you how well each individual person is doing, and also provide different roles by having the different weapon types. And like I hadn't seen it in that light before now, so I'm going to be thinking of a lot of games in a different context now. I think with that whole doing the same thing makes a competitive thing. I'll be interesting if I notice it in any more games that I'm familiar with and I've never seen it before.
Hmm. I mean, like that mentality can even seep into some single player games.
How do you
Like
mean?
I definitely have like the first thing that jumped to mind was
Mm-hmm.
Titanfall 2 and Call of Duty
Okay.
4.
Like competing with the NPCs or
A little bit, yeah, because they have those gauntlets that you can run through, and they have a timer, and there's a like time to beat. In Titanfall 2, there's like a leaderboard
yeah.
of NPCs to beat. So you end up getting into that competitive kind of mentality because you run the same stuff that they're doing.
Having a leaderboard really primes you to think of it as a competition as well.
Definitely, yeah. But it's also just like it's fascinating to think about because they're again doing the same thing. And in Titanfall's case, there's like a ghost that runs through the level at the same time as you.
Yeah. So if you can see it, you know you can do better.
Exactly. And you can kind of watch the ghost to try and figure out what it's doing too.
Yeah.
So Titanfall 2, pretty good. It owns as well. I keep saying this, play Titanfall 2 if you're not playing it. It's like it is being slept on. People need to play that game. It's really good.
How much is it? Is it a full price AAA?
It is a full price AAA game, but you can find it most places half off because nobody's buying it. That is the thing about Titanfall 2.
Right.
It's from the same people who did Call of Duty 4, and then moved on to found their own studio after Activision screwed with them. They've made a really good game. I would highly recommend it.
Sorry, I have been listening, but also found another one with the competitive cooperative thing. I've never thought of it before. Terraria, and an extension of that, games like Minecraft and Starbound.
Mm-hmm.
I've often found while I'm playing that, I mean, they're cooperative games, and it feels most cooperative when you have one person building and the other person either getting materials or keeping enemies away. If there's two people building, it's really hard to stay cooperative unless you've got a very cohesive vision. And if it's two people fighting, either you'll take up different points so you can feel cooperative, or it'll be like trying to keep enemies away from each other to force it to be cooperative. But it's interesting just thinking of it in that context, because when I used to play with my then partner, we played a lot of Minecraft. It would always turn into she'd go down in the mines and get a whole bunch of materials, and then I'd like do stuff with it up the top. And then when we did try building stuff together, like this massive road we built, it kind of got competitive. Just kind of fun.
All right. Do you think that's going to be it for us?
Well, we've got a question, don't we?
You're right. We do have a question this week as well. This question, I have to find it really quick. I have to do that really quickly.
So it's just something mentioning both of us, because I think it mentioned both of us.
Yeah, it does, but that's also like deep in my notifications.
You, like search on Twitter for both our usernames?
Oh no, I got it here because it's
Okay.
It's at the show as well.
Ah, right. Yep.
That's like the easiest way for me to get this.
Yeah, fair.
And this question comes to us from the queerest deer, who I love very much. And she asks, who is your favorite video game antagonist? Specifically a character and not a larger enemy force or organization. And we've had a couple days to think about this.
You know what's really bad though?
You only didn't think about it a little bit.
No. I thought it said protagonist. I've been thinking about that.
Oh! Nope, that's not what it was.
Shit. Okay, quick, gotta think.
I'll buy you some time, dude. I think all up, favorite antagonist is probably Handsome Jack from Borderlands.
Okay, why is that?
Mostly because Handsome Jack is kind of deceptive. He's on the out. He's a pretty charming character. He's well written, funny, generally a beneficial presence to the game. He serves to kind of keep the tone both light and dark, which is an interesting kind of role for him to slot into.
I'm getting some echo. Has something happened on your end? It's just echo when I talk. I can hear it coming back. It seems to have stopped. Okay, never mind. Sorry.
No, it's all good. I'll see about that while I adjust real quick. Is that any better?
It's the same. It seems it's good now. It's good.
Okay, cool.
So you're talking about how Handsome Jack makes it light and dark at the same time.
Yeah. Handsome Jack both serves as like a source of comic relief, but also as like an incredibly dark antagonist. Like, dude kills his own daughter. Handsome Jack is a fucked up character. There's fucked up shit that happens throughout all of the Borderlands games, and specifically Borderlands 2 and the pre-sequel. And it's really interesting to see as well his kind of evolution over the course of the pre-sequel. He very quickly goes from like an actual good character with good like morals and intentions. He goes bad over the course of the pre-sequel. He gets like a lust for power. And it's a story that it's been told time and time again, you know. It's nothing necessarily new. But it's still a fascinating descent to kind of watch happen.
Especially when you're on
gradually.
his side, is in that case, right?
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you're on his side.
And you stay on his side.
Yeah. I mean, he does get fucked up. But you do stay on his side, and you are eventually called into question for that. And that's one of the kind of central points of Borderlands, the pre-sequel, is that you are, like, it is being called into question what you were doing working with Handsome Jack.
That's how it starts, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, I think for all of that, I think that all makes Handsome Jack really kind of stand out and compelling when it's all put together in the final product. Voss from Far Cry 3 is like a close second for me.
Yeah, that occurred to me as well, because he was a very memorable and compelling villain.
Yeah, like, yeah. God, Voss was really good. Voss was super, super compelling over the course of Far Cry 3. He felt like a genuine menace. He felt like a force to be reckoned with. He also provided that kind of comic relief if you have a particularly dark sense of humor. Which I did at the time that I played Far Cry 3.
What did you think of the antagonists in the Portal games? Because they had quite a humor element as well.
I love GLaDOS.
Yeah.
She's also kind of up there in my favorite antagonists. It's debatable how much of an antagonist she actually is, but also not.
She's trying to kill you.
She is trying to kill you. But there's stuff that happens over the course of Portal 2 which calls some stuff into question just a little bit. No spoilers on that. It's actually like a super cool moment.
I have played it, but yes, listeners, sure.
Yeah, listeners. No spoilers.
I'm really
now it's over to you. You have to decide on an antagonist that you really like.
The thing that bothers me is I've avoided talking about this game because you have to play it and I don't want to spoil it for you.
Is it Chrono Trigger?
Yeah.
Okay. You can just say it and then we can be done.
I've been thinking about it. And no, I don't want to just leave it at that because that's a boring answer. But
I mean, my enjoyment will not be ruined.
The character Magus from Chrono Trigger was really interesting to me as an antagonist, and really kind of stuck with me, I think. Partly because I'm gonna spoil this for you and hate myself.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a massive bait and switch. The whole game sets him up to be the villain, and then when you finally encounter him, it's right when he is summoning what you've seen is this world-ending monster demon thing that he supposedly created. And you find out, actually, no, he was summoning it so he could take his revenge on it, and you came and interrupted and fucked things up, and that's how everything went bad. And then, like, he shows up again, and he's working against you for so long, but his motivations also totally make sense. And once you realize, you were like, shit, I was on the wrong side of that. And yeah, it's also, his thread is kind of, it's really the only unfinished one by the end of the game. And it actually gets finished up, for better or worse, in Chrono Cross, the sequel, which should have been a standalone game.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think I'm going to pick that. My first thought was to go through the Final Fantasy games I've loved. But like, I don't want to pick Seymour because I didn't think that he was amazing. It was an interesting idea with him. Sin was pretty interesting as well. I didn't want to pick that. If I said Sephiroth, that would be massively cliched. Although Final Fantasy VI Kefka was really cool. This is someone who says they don't like narrative-driven games being funny. Picking the clown enemy is one of their favorite antagonists. But Kefka was a really interesting bad guy. It's not often that the bad guy destroys the world in a video game that you get to win. Um, I struggle to think of an antagonist more evil than Kefka, honestly.
But who's your favorite? Oh no, we already went over this.
Yeah, I'm going to say Magus is the favorite. Kefka probably comes second in that, I think. Yeah, I'm going to go with that.
All right. Well, hey, thank you for listening to this 29th episode of PauseCast. I'm going to try and make this end stuff a little bit more brief than I did last week, because it was a nightmare. I'm very sorry.
Well, before we do that, what are you looking forward to playing this week?
Oh, you got me there. This week, I'm looking forward to maybe getting some time with Night in the Woods. I might just wait until I can spend a whole week on it, and then we can talk about it properly.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause that game looks like it's got a lot to give. This week, probably gonna say some more Infinite Warfare campaign. Sounds like it's gonna be good. Good action focused game. Overwatch, continuing that. And this week as well, I might sit down for some time with Abzu.
Abzu? What's that?
It is from the art director of Journey.
Ooh. This is ABZU?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
I'll send you a link.
Okay.
It's a chill, like, swim. Going for a real chill swim.
I think I've seen this.
So I'm thinking
Yes.
I might spend some time with that this week.
Nice.
The original score as well is done by the same composer who worked on Journey, as well as like Assassin's Creed Syndicate, Monaco. So, Austin Wintory. Super cool. How about you, though? What are you looking forward to playing this week?
I'm probably going to try a bit more Kingdom, but I expect when the going gets tough, I'm going to stop. Just because I'm not in the mood for a real challenging game. And this is one that does ramp up over time. Like literally, as days pass, more enemies show up, and it never goes back to getting easier again. Seasons progress, but once it gets to winter, apparently it doesn't go back, which means your farms stop producing stuff, the land stops producing animals that drop coins. So basically, you're not getting as much money, but the enemies are still getting stronger. So I'm probably going to play that not until I lose, probably until it just stops being fun for me, because I'm not looking for that sort of challenge. But I love the art style and the minimalism of the gameplay, so I will play some more of it. I mean, they've got new mounts in the new lands that I'm going to, so like I'll get some new pixel art I get to see and new backgrounds and stuff, and it's all really gorgeous. So I'll probably play more of that. Aside from that, not sure. I mean, I wasn't expecting to pick up Kingdom this last week, so I might end up picking up something else. I've been in a real pixel arty mood lately, so I might go back to a game like Chrono Trigger or Final Fantasy VI or Bastard Bonds or something. Not sure. And I quite possibly will end up doing more Dying Light, just because it's what... Oh, actually, no. My flatmate's not here on the weekend, so I probably won't end up doing any of that.
If you're interested in a bunch more video games as well, and this will still be up when the show goes live, Humble Bundle is running a game bundle with something like 40 or 50 games in it right now.
Oh, you told me about this. He mentioned it as well. Sounds good.
It is completely obscene.
It's what, $30?
Yep, $30. It's called the Humble Freedom Bundle. It includes games like The Witness, Stardew Valley,
Stardew Valley. I should play more Stardew Valley. That's
Nuclear
a really
Throne,
chill game.
Invisible Ink, The Stanley Parable.
Yeah, that one's quite cool. I like Invisible Ink.
Super Meat Boy, Guacamelee, 30 Flights of Loving, The Swapper. Yep, there's Beat Hazard Ultra, which I used to be the best in the world at, not a joke.
Okay.
I was literally top of the leaderboards.
When Grand Theft Auto 5 online stuff first came out, I got a world record. which
Really?
meant that I unlocked a special tattoo that only world record holders could get.
Oh, neat.
But it was only because it was really new, and I don't think anyone had done that race before.
Yeah, no. Back when Beat Hazard Ultra was like established, I came in and started getting really fucking good at it and became a world champion for
Wow.
like a little bit.
Cool.
So that game is extremely good. Not recommended if you have epileptic seizures.
A lot of
Holy
flashing.
shit. Lot of flashing. You can turn it down, but there's a lot. If that's your shit, go for it. It's Asteroids on steroids. I love
Nuclear
that game.
Throne is in here as well. You
Yeah, I
really liked
mentioned.
that one. Sorry.
I really liked Nuclear Throne. Very good. 2064 Read Only Memories is also there. Mini
yeah.
Metro. Song of the Deep. Like, there's a lot of really, really great games in here. It is $30. All of the profits are going to the ACLU. They are going to Médecins Sans Frontières, or Doctors Without Borders, and they are going to the International Rescue Committee. So three really great charities. HumbleBundle.com/freedom. You can get a ton of really great games. Would recommend. We have a Patreon. If you would like to support the show financially, you can go do that. Patreon.com/PauseCast show. We've just added another incentive for our $1 tier, which is I'm going to start putting together super detailed show notes for every episode, talking about like every game that we talked about on the show, links to articles if we talk about anything like that. So kind of put all the information in one place. The only reason that it's part of Patreon and not just available everywhere is because SoundCloud actually screws with our formatting on that stuff a lot. So when it actually gets put out into the feed, it's not quite right. So instead, we're going to keep it on Patreon. A little bit of incentive. Again, support the show financially. Check out the reward tiers that we have. We have a $1 tier and a $5 tier. And that is patreon.com/podcast show. You can find the show online basically everywhere at PauseCast Show. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. Facebook.com/group/PauseCast Show. SoundCloud. All that. Mark, you mentioned earlier in the episode that you have a place online where you blog, though not about video games. Where's that?
So I do that at honestuniverse.com, and I'm on Twitter as well with the username honestuniverse.
All right. And I am on the internet as Cockatiel Cutie. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Tumblr at the good URL bird.school.
If you're interested about the stretching reflections thing I mentioned earlier, I wrote an article about it on my blog a while ago, so you can find it on there if you want to find out why those reflections stretch like that.
Which actually, not going to lie, I've thought about a little bit.
Yeah?
Yeah, so I might go dig that up.
It's one of those things I just sort of realized one day, hey, this happens all the time and I never think about why.
Yeah, and then you actually went and did the thing and found out why.
Yeah, I wrote a little simulation to try to see if I was right as well. It's fun.
That's actually kind of cool.
You can use the simulation. I linked to it in the article.
Neat. All right. Well, that is it for this week on PauseCast. Thank you so much for tuning in. Oh my God, there's a cat purring very loudly in my ear.
You're welcome.
Cheers. Hey, just wanted to mention real quick, since I didn't remember to during the show, we have a ton of games to give away. If you just email us, we have Moon Hunters. Email us a moon fact, a thing you like about the moon. We have Dragon's Dogma, Dark Arisen. Email us with your favorite dragon. Tell me about your favorite dragon, because I want to know. And we also have XCOM 2 available. Just for someone who emails us. If you are interested in that game or the others, email us, let us know, pausecastshow@gmail.com.